Alright, everybody, so this will be Defund the Police Part 5, I believe. And kind of Psyops and Who's Your Guru and some other things. Anyway, that there is called a shiny hiney. You see the polished backs of trucks like that, or whether it's a van like that, or whatever it is, it's a shiny hiney. And there's some serious money sitting on the trailer over here. Probably $250,000 or more. I don't know what they go for now. That is some serious equipment there. I don't know what that is. Some kind of combine or something. But anyhow, do this. Maybe this will be better. There's a saying in the Islamic traditions that if you kill somebody, it's like you've killed all of humanity, and if you save a life, it's like you've saved all of humanity. So what kind of things should we be focusing on? Saving lives. And this is one of the problems. I realized the hypocrisy when I was a Christian. Them TV preachers will all get on and cry their crocodile tears and stuff and say, I remember watching that one woman on TBN talking about how she saw Jesus and Jesus was weeping for the children and this and everything, over abortion and stuff and everything. And how, hey, if you commit abortion, you might be killing a future scientist who would save people by curing cancer and stuff, which I agree with. That's fine and dandy. But then when it comes to going to war at the drop of a hat and other people's children being blown up by bombs, it was like, wait a minute. See what I'm saying? I'm always like trying to be common sense, reasonable. Try to. I haven't always been. I've been swayed from, one extreme to another on some things and stuff. People inflame your passions, and you got to get a hold of yourself. You can't. I mean, look, if this kind of stuff keeps going on, and we're seeing this stuff, sooner or later you might have another Timothy McVeigh or somebody to, and you have extremists in the black community worry about cops and their rights and stuff and everything, and you got extremists in the white community too. You watch or look at them programs like InfoWars. What's that guy's name? When he first started out, he wasn't so Looney Tunes. I forget his name. You can see him going off, the cops and your rights and this and that. And it's like I said before, one of the other things I did, and in these here, some guy that owns a rifle is going hunting and got a Bible, going to church, and you got people saying they're a threat and that there's something, you talk about Trump saying things that divides people and offends people. Obama said plenty. These people are there's something wrong with them. These rural Americans who, when they're done ranching and farming and stuff, might go hunting and read their Bibles or go to church and things like that. Obama didn't have no problem going to churches and pandering when it served his purpose. Anyhow, people say things from both parties to inflame people. I mean, the whole white privilege thing. Obama started with that stuff. When you didn't get that on your own, you had help. White privilege, and you got these lily whites who they'll talk about how they went to Juilliard, and I don't know if it's Stephen Colbert or anything, but those types of people. They grew up on Long Island or wherever, and then their parents did this or that, and then they studied this, and they went to Juilliard, and they go through the whole process and knocking on doors to get into Hollywood or TV or whatever. And they want to talk about white privilege, and it's like, wait a minute, what the hell do you know about knocking out a life as a white person in this country? I started working when I was 14, actually 13, washing dishes in the restaurant up to my elbows in muck. I moved up to cooking and stuff, but then I had construction jobs in Arizona. You ever dug ditches with a pickaxe and a shovel in 110, 115 degree heat? Mr. Colbert, Mr. Jimmy Kimmel, people like you, Mr. Obama. You ever done anything like that? White privilege? The hell are you talking about? And other jobs I've had, in this job, there ain't no privilege in this job. I'll tell you that. You like 15, 16-hour days, now legally 14. But by the time you park and everything, you're going to be up for a bit, whatever, so you add another hour or two, whatever. But back in the day when there was no electronic logs and stuff, it was even longer days. White privilege? The hell are you talking about? Now, when I was younger, I had friends, I grew up poor. My old man wasn't around. My mom worked sun up to sundown, never collected welfare or nothing. Busted her ass. White privilege? The hell are you talking about? I was always taught if I wanted something, I had to work for it, not to steal. Nobody owes you nothing. Plenty of times, I wanted the cooler type of jeans or whatever, the more expensive Levi's, that came out of the money I worked for. And I wasted a lot of money I worked for. Back in them days, it wasn't video game consoles and this and that. You went to the arcade and blew it on asteroids. I wish I saved all that money. I tell my son all the time, you know what, there's plenty of time to buy junk later in life. Put that money in it. I keep telling him, get a bank account open, get an investment account, whatever it is, something. And always have charity. I tell him that too. He's got to set a standard for himself. So much money he makes goes towards his bills, so much goes towards his retirement and education, so much goes towards charity, and then there's a little bit you put over on the side. That's your money to blow on yourself once in a while. All I can do is talk to him, He seems pretty smart in that he'll do that, and then other times I wonder, but hey, but at least try and point it out to him. But white privilege, I like I said, I was poor. I had friends though, their parents, Cadillacs in the driveway, way nicer house. He always had nicer clothes. Friends who on their 16th birthday or for graduation would get a new car, which back in those days, it was like everyone's wanting a Camaro or a Trans Am. There was no way on my 16th birthday I was getting a new car. There was no way, even if I had stayed in school and graduated, I was getting a new car. That wasn't happening, Jack. But I didn't look at them as privileged, or that there was something wrong with them having what they had. Their parents had stayed together, worked, were professionals, made good money. You know, so it's like nobody handed them anything either. And it's like, you know, what are you talking about? So if somebody busts their butt and works and ends up making a good living where they can live good, and then turns around and spreads some of that their kids' way, buying them a new car and stuff, hey, yeah, you're damn right. That ain't happening in a lot of African American communities. But guess what? It ain't happening in white communities either. Not as much as you think. You know, where you know, hey, I can look forward to a new car when I graduate, or I can look forward, you know, for my 16th birthday getting a new car. That ain't happening in all the white communities. It ain't happening in all black communities. But the friends I had that did have that, I didn't look at it as like, well, they shouldn't have that. That's not fair. They shouldn't have that. They're privileged. Their parents busted their asses. And that's another thing, the opportunity in this country. People come here because they want to get to that level of not having to grind it out from paycheck to paycheck and stuff, or even worse than that, they come from poorer situations where there ain't no paycheck to paycheck in their countries. And that's the thing with the illegal immigration and stuff and everything. A lot of people don't have any problem people coming here legally. And people say, oh, what's the big deal? They come in, they're not taking jobs anybody else wants. I'm sorry. You're wrong. You got to be honest about the conversation. You can't just make up a bunch of crap and say, you know, hey, you people, you can't be mad because they're just taking jobs. And really, actually, what that comes down to is these lily white, you know, actual white privileged people. You know, oh, they're only coming here to pick fruit or whatever. And what they're actually saying is what's the big deal? They're only going to be our slave labor force. You know, there ought to be more focus on the nation of Mexico and why Mexico doesn't provide more services for its people. You know, and I was all for, hey, Obamacare, at the point, the way they made it sound and everything, helping poor people with being able to go to the doctor and stuff like that. Hey, that's great, and it's not going to raise anybody's premiums, and it's not going to change the doctor you can go to. Went from over $400 a month paying in insurance to cover me and my kid to over $800 a month. When I got upset about that, and I was making a comment about it one time, truck stopped and other drivers and stuff, a black dude in there, he got all upset. I was a racist. If you didn't like Obama, it's just because you're a racist. See what I'm talking about? Mindsets and gurus and things. I don't necessarily think if you like Trump, you're automatically some far left socialist, whatever. You might have legitimate gripes about things he said that have offended you or something. But they all do. Obama did. Bush did. Clinton did. All of them. Reagan. But this whole idea, this whole mantra that's being put out there to the African American community, that all white people have some special privilege that they don't have, that all white people are racist, that all this and everything, and if you question anything that they say, you're a racist. If you ask for facts and you object to facts they use, let's look at the facts about, you know, police shootings. Put them on the table for real. More white people get shot by cops. Okay, but then you say, but according statistically or percentage-wise, per capita of the population, African Americans are shot twice as much more than whites, even though they're not. You see what I'm saying? Because they say African Americans only 13% of the population or whatever. Well, how close are the numbers that are we talking about here? And how are those statistics compiled? I still got to fill out my census for this year. Do you think you're looking at TV, seeing these people out in the streets and everything? Do you think they all fill out their census? I think that was the number they used. Black population's 13%. I'm sorry. From where I sit, it's up there at least 20, maybe 25. I think. I'm pretty sure. So I don't know if people play with the numbers, but I know it's more than 13%. So what if you said it was 15% or 16%? How's the number on police shootings then, per capita? People can play with numbers all day long. You can make numbers back and forth, throw out statistics. I mean, I hear stuff coming from the African American community that is just as dumb as the crap I've heard come from, racist white America about black people. Just so, don't try and differentiate. Don't try and tell me there's a difference between the two. You have your racists, you have your criminals, we have our racists, we have our criminals. Don't try and say one is more all right than the other. You want to talk equality? Then we're going to talk equality. And I believe in equality. Believed in it before I started reading about, the Baha'i faith and the unity, the cause of God, the unity of mankind. But like I said, it doesn't say everyone's got to be like everyone else. China can still be China. Asian people can still have their heritage and their cultures, and we can have ours right here in America, what we were founded on. And like I said, when I started my journey and stuff, I was asking, God, who are you, and why is the world the way it is? If there's one God, why is there so many religions? And Jesus talked about brotherly love and, humanity and forgiveness, and why do we got these wars and so many vengeful people and all this and all these things. And, I've been grinding out those question and answers things for 15 years now. Still learning. Hope to keep on learning. What's that song by Kansas? Carry on our wayward son. Once I rose above the noise and confusion. What's a bit in there about, and then he flew too high. But then, if you think yourself a wise man, it surely means you know nothing at all. Been there, been through it, still going through it, still learning. So don't be preoccupied with this world. Start your path of learning and trying to understand. And I know when I look at what the Baha'i faith teaches, and it seems utopian and stuff, and everything seems like a long way away, and you look at what's going on in the world, and you might ask yourself, how could it ever get to this place where there's some kind of unity and stuff and everything? I mean, eventually, maybe after we get this unity, but everybody still keeps their cultures and things like that, maybe there won't be no borders once, sometime way down the road, when humanity evolves far enough for it. That's the other thing too. We're progressing, trying to be progressive and trying to move things along. You can't pull the rug out from under people's feet and make these drastic, huge, freaking changes. and push for things too quick. You know, and like I said, on the right wing and stuff, you got people who have attitudes against the cops and stuff. I mean, even Border Patrol check stations and stuff. You can look, there's plenty of videos on YouTube about people hitting them check stations. And all they do at those check stations is, if you've never been through one, the Border Patrol agent says, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" "Yes, I am." And because they can't see in the back of the truck, "Do you have anybody with you?" "No, I don't." "Okay, go ahead." That's it. But you'll have these yahoos pull up there. The Border Patrol agent will ask, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" And they'll go into the spiel about how you have no right to ask me that, and blah, 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 and all this stuff. There's plenty of videos on there. And it's like, why? It's like, why, when you're dealing with a cop, go through all this stuff? They're only doing their jobs. You know, and I see people in the African-American community say, "Oh, why cops afraid of us?" and blah. It's because they shoot us, you know, they're afraid and all this and everything. Well, I'm sorry, go back. I talked about in one of the previous videos about the truck driver stabs the cop in the knife in the neck with a screwdriver. Or the title might say, white cop shoots black truck driver. Cop's writing him a ticket. The guy bugs out, grabs a screwdriver, jams it in the cop's neck, and the cop shoots him. That was as bizarre a thing, not as bizarre, but pretty bizarre and pretty disturbing to see. Almost as bizarre and disturbing as watching what this jack-off cop in Minneapolis did to George Floyd. George Floyd's was more disturbing because it went on for 8 minutes. The episode with the truck driver, that was, you know, like a minute, not even a minute. I mean, the video's a couple minutes long, but the point where the violence started and where it was over was, you know, seconds. There's people not willing to acknowledge responsibility on either side in certain things, you know, but going around with a camera and telling white people they have to kneel down because the leader of Black Lives Matter says so, you're not going to get nowhere there. Trying to get rid of police, you're not going to get nowhere there. Because you got more people going out and buying guns now because they're seeing that the police can't do the job, or they're being held back from doing the job. I'm telling you, you would much rather have a peace officer there, a police officer, cop, whatever you want to call them, to stop the violence instead of letting groups go at it. And that's why another thing is about Psyops. I got to ask, do people want a race war in this country? Are there forces who are working towards that for some reason? They're willing to break a few eggs, like I was talking about that movie, The Long Kiss Goodbye or Goodnight, whatever it is, where they tell them, hey, to get funding for XYZ or whatever, you know, we're going to let 4,000 people get killed, and we'll blame it on the Muslims. Is there some kind of operation? Are these things that all happen to make people move in a certain direction and agree for certain things? I don't know. Are they pushing? Do they want race war? Do they want civil war? What are they pushing for? Will they push this towards a race war or civil war and stuff, and then use the army to crack down, and then that's the way they get the weapons from the population, say no one gets no more weapons no more? Whatever. I don't know. They're using it for some other thing? You have to wonder anymore sometimes, because you hear so much garbage and lies from both sides and in the news media that you gotta think, man, we're being played for something. I don't know what it is yet. I've said in brief videos I've had back before that I don't have up anymore. You know, they do things. It's like, you know, look over here, like magicians. Watch this hand while the other one's doing something that you know you're not supposed to see. I think lots of times we might be seeing that right now. What kind of bills and legislation are being passed that we're not even hearing about while all this is going on? What else is going on that, you know, this could be a smokescreen for? So, but you know, the violence, the madness, all that stuff has to stop. The hypocrisy on both sides. You got to be pro-life. You got to be 100% pro-life. And I am. That's why I say criminals and that who have no regard for life, I'm not crying for them. I'm not shedding a tear for no more, you know, whether it's some meth head in, you know, wherever, Corn Patch, USA, whatever, in some trailer park. Keeps messing around, making meth and stuff. The cops bust him before. Why am I supposed to care about that person? Why am I supposed to care about, you know, in some of these neighborhoods you go through St. Louis, you can see the houses that were crack houses. You know, some of the parts of our inner cities look like war zones because of what drugs did there. And the criminal activity. You can't get businesses and stuff to go in there and give people jobs and stuff. They're like, are you kidding? We've tried that, and we're not going to lose our asses in there. We're not going to have employees that steal so they can support their drug habit. We're not going to be down there so that we can be robbed all the time. We're not going to be down there so the place can be burned down all the time. And you look at the neighborhoods, you think if we were able to save some money on what we spend on all these high dollar weapons, save some money there, you know, it's like Trump brought the troops home and stuff, and we're going to save some money, and it's not right, you know, to be spread out and spending all this money. And you know, if we cut down the military budget, and then if we cut down the budget we have to spend on all these criminals and all the problems they cause, and we can get people to be responsible human beings and take care of their own children instead of having this huge, super huge welfare system. A lot of those neighborhoods could be rebuilt. You can fix the streets. You can put in the new pipes you need. You could knock down those old burned out crack houses and put up, you know, low cost, you know, housing, and help people get mortgages for them in the African American community. But if you got to spend all this money, these criminals making sure, their calorie intake is right, and they get 3 squares, and they get medical and dental, and they get all the crap they could ever want while they're in prison, and they go in and out of the system, just career criminal, you could save a lot of money. You crack down on that. Say, look, like Sheriff Joe used to say, prison ain't supposed to be a pleasant place. You don't have to make torture chambers of the dark ages and everything like that. But honestly, there's compared to other parts of the world, you know, the treatment criminals get in this country is unbelievable. So, anyway, I'll let y'all go with that one. And if I think of anything else later on, I'll add to it. Wish you all the best out there. God bless. Adios.